Mandrake, do you recall what Clemenceau once said about war?
No, I didn't think I do, son. No.
He said war was too important to be left to the generals. When he said that, 50 years ago, he might have been right. But today, war is too important to be left to politicians. They have neither the time, the training, nor the inclination for strategic thought. I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration, communist indoctrination, communist subversion, and the international communist conspiracy to sap and impurify all of our precious bodily fluids.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. And tonight we've got John and Dave on. Now, Dave is, we all know John. John is the best-selling author. And we've got Dave, who is our survival and prepper and survival expert, who explains survival for the average person. You know, not the sort of person that's going to go out and kill a polar bear. And by the way, little tip: if you do go out to catch a polar bear, do you know how to catch a polar bear? What you do, you make a hole in the ice, you see, and then you put peas around the outside of the hole. And when the polar bear comes from a pea, you kick him in the ice hole. So there we go. See, it's a little bit. Now, also we've got a surprise. I'm going to actually thrill the ladies tonight. So tonight I'm going to show my shemagh. Now, don't get too excited, ladies. I know it's. Do you want to give them a quick flash of it? Well, here it is. It's a scarf. And we got people with filthy minds. You know, what did they think I was going to show them? This is a survival shemagh, and I think that Dave will explain more about them. This is a cheap, crappy one, but now also we'll be talking about the book Food for Free. I bought a copy of it, and before I go any further, I'm sort of labouring the point here. I'll explain a little bit more about these people. That's Abbey Health Foods and Miles Fleetwood. And I'll explain again, the reason why the scan is so bad is because his cards are in a blue colour, and blue doesn't scan very well. And I'll just explain briefly what happened. Now, after last week's show, on the Tuesday, I had a bit of a downer. I was pretty... And I hadn't taken any of the medicines that they had prescribed to me at that stage. Well, what happened is that I did take the medicines at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, probably take a couple of weeks to sort of kick in. 12:30, I couldn't believe it. My gloom just lifted, and I felt a heck of a lot better. And I was so happy. I phoned the shop up. I spoke to Marina, and she said, very matter of fact, oh yeah, it does work. So I think, you know, I speak as I find, absolutely brilliant. So over to you, John. You're going to introduce Dave, I believe.
I've got a really big part in tonight's production. I've just got a very brief walk-on part. If you blink, you'll miss me. But hi,
You've
everyone.
Got some parts, have you?
Hey, that is.
But Dave will be in his gear.
Shemagh.
And he'll be wearing one of these, a shemagh. So don't get excited, ladies. And also because he wants to, shall we say, not reveal his identity. So I can understand.
You spoiled the only part I had now. You've said it all. So, you seem stealer, you. Okay, right, well... Yeah, without further ado, then it's over to Dave, who's going to be doing the bulk of the show. I'm really just going to sit this one out, but I'll be here and hereabouts if needed. Unlikely, but there you go. So over to you, Dave.
Thank you,
Hello,
John.
Dave.
And,
Good evening.
thank you, Chris, for having me on again, and thank you to everybody for tuning in. And thanks for the kind words from the last appearance by me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on, because quite honestly, you're one in a million here, because when I went to stand in the park last week, you, as I say, your ears must have been burning, because for ages people were talking about water filters and all kinds of things. We've got lots of questions tonight. And shall we sort of quickly run through the questions before we start? Dave, would that be all right?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Well, on Facebook, we've got a couple, and we've got here, I won't mention the surname because I haven't had permission, but it's from Cliff. And he says, what foods should be stored?
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. We actually went over this in the previous video from a fortnight ago, but I'm happy to recap. Tinned foods and dried foods, but dried foods should only be stored when you, like Chris, who is actually the prepping expert, and he'll know that you have to store them in dry, airtight conditions if it's dried food such as rice and pasta. But I will reiterate that I believe tinned foods, tinned meats in particular, are the thing to go for, as well as tinned potatoes, because they're actually packed in drinkable water. So you're actually storing water as well as food, and it's particularly drinkable if you was to put it through your filter, which we talked extensively about in the last video.
That's an interesting one. And the second question is, again, I think we've answered this one, but I'll read it out. And this is from Amy Angela. And again, I won't read the surname because I haven't actually had permission to read the surname out. Could you ask him if he can go into detail about foraging? For example, what foods can be got from hedgerows, which flowers and plants are edible, and can you filter river water with oxygenated charcoal, and if so, how many times you should run it through charcoal? Thanks. And I think I'll just lift this book up. And
yeah, the book that Chris is kindly holding up is Food for Free. I showed the small packable version a fortnight ago, and every bit of information on foraging that you need is in there, with high definition photos to identify the plants. To answer the question of what foods can be found in hedgerows and foraging, I rely on things that are easy to find, easy to recognise, and in abundance. I stick to nettles, dandelions, wild garlic, and that's about it really, because in a high stress situation, you maybe won't be wanting to go rooting through the undergrowth like Ray Mears, trying to find various nuts and things that are buried. I'd rather harvest 75 dandelions than cover 5 square miles looking for a particularly tasty herb or root. That's my own preference, but I do carry the handbook Food for Free, which Chris is holding up. But
it's a small one, isn't it?
Small packable version.
Yeah.
I believe it's more useful as a field reference guide rather than something that you can sit at home and read it cover to cover and then think that you're going to know what all the plants are. It's better to be able to refer to it in the field, thereby keeping yourself safe from these lookalike plants, which are often lethal. And that's as far as I can go with the foraging, because as a survivalist, I operate the least effort to gather the most calories, and that's what it's all about.
My view is, I mean, this was reprinted it was originally printed, I think, in 1972, and this is a reprint of 2001, and it's slightly different because it goes through with the seasons. That's the reason I got it. I think it's out of print. This is second hand. I got it off eBay, but I'm going to get the small book because that's a small one that was printed originally in 1972, because I agree with what you say. And the reason why I got this book is because it goes through each season, so I can look up the seasons and then go out with the small book and use that. So it's a double sort of whammy. So that's, but I thought, because people were saying that was one of the main things. Cool, and it's small, can hardly read this. So I said, well, look, I'm going to get the big book and I'll refer it. But I think you are 100% correct. Look at this at home and then go out with the small book. So I think that's very good advice.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question about the foraging. It's not something that you want to be spending a lot of calories doing.
That's right. We got some other questions here, which I've made a little note of, and I've actually lost. Come on, Chris. Where was it now? Do you know, I had that piece of paper earlier, and it's disappeared somewhere. But we went through it. Where is it? Can you just excuse me just a second? I'm terribly sorry about this. It was actually in my hand, and I made a great big note of it. And oh well. Was it? Don't work with pieces of paper, as I say. Well, it's oh, here it is. It's on the floor. It fell out. Here we go. I thought it was somewhere. We got here again what herbs should be grown, but as you're saying, that's more for my sort of prepping. You know what I mean? We eat at home garden. Now we've got here what is the best long blade survival knife, and it's got. I know you said about Swiss Army knives, so. That one?
Yeah, the best short blade survival knife is the Mora Garberg. I have a Mora companion myself, and I have a Swiss Army knife. But to answer the question on the best large blade implement to have, is clearly no contest. It's only the Gurkha Nepalese cookery knife, and it's a multiple use item. It's really heavy. It's good for chopping things down as well as butchery. You can dig holes with it. You can throw it at game. If you tie a string on the back so you don't lose it, you can throw it at birds and things like this, and it will do everything and more. And it's also an extremely good self-defense weapon in a without rule of law situation.
Brilliant. So that is a Gurkha, sorry, I was writing it down, Nepalese cookery knife. I suppose you can get these off of eBay, can't you?
Yeah, there are poor quality copies, and beware of those. There's a firm that ships them internationally called the Cookery House, where they're handmade in Nepal and sent out. And these are very high quality carbon steel blades. Now, I've actually gone for D2 tool steel cookery, which is a hardened tool steel blade, and it virtually never needs sharpening because it's very hard steel. I had a custom 90-degree cutout ground on it to enable the scraping of fat wood for tinder and the scraping of a ferro rod in case I had to scrape shavings off things without actually cutting into it. And it's a fantastic item, 5mm thick, 12-inch blade, D2 tool steel. It's £77 from Blades UK. I'm trying to remember. I think I got it from Blades UK a few years ago.
Blades UK. And is it the Cookery House as well?
Cookery House is the main one where everybody swears by. But I personally think that the handles on the original Nepalese cookery are not as good as the handles on the more commercial UK-made ones.
Okay, because you've got to pay the money out to get the good stuff. I think
£77 isn't a lot of money for a good survival blade. It's really not.
Well, it's going to save your life in many ways.
Definitely.
You did show me was it because you were talking about axes, weren't we, before the show?
Yeah, I believe. I think if axes are only okay in a bug out bag or survival kit, if you are actually a proficient axe wielder, an expert in wielding an axe or a hatchet, because it's quite a dangerous item, and if you injure yourself in the field without any access to medical attention, you could be in a great deal of trouble. I personally substitute the inclusion of an axe with a folding saw, an high quality folding saw, multiple use item, has a 90-degree spine, enabling you to strike a ferro rod with it. It's suitable as a bone saw for butchering game, and also excellent for sawing wood, which is its original purpose. Brilliant. I can actually I can show this item.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Point.
Yeah.
I'll do that now if you like.
Okay.
The
Is there any good names in this? Because I know you can go down to Wix and B&Q and pick up some.
Yeah, but they're not.
Crap.
You really don't want one of those. I'd go for the Barco Laplander all day long. I mean, the recently introduced silky saws purport to be more efficient as a rear stroke cutting saw. This is a dual direction cutting saw which cuts on the forward and reverse stroke. Yes, the silky saws will cut more efficiently, but the build quality is not there in my opinion. The Barco Laplander is what Ray Mears recommends, and if he likes it, I like it. So
the Barco Laplander.
Yeah.
Is there cheap Chinese or foreign knockoffs, I suppose, of these as well, isn't there?
Well, there will be, but I'd always go for this. Is what I'd go for. And, well,
I agree with you.
This is it.
For people to watch out and to avoid the knockoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a excellent item as part of the cutting element of the 5 C's of survival.
Shall I put them up on the screen? The 5 C's of
invented by the great Dave Canterbury. Everybody will probably know who he is.
Here it is. So we got. Well, I'll put 6 C's because there's an extra one that I did it before.
Yeah, this is like an optional 6th C of survival, candling, which is a lighting device. Carry a lighting device so that you can obviously see things in the dark or signal in the dark and find things in the dark. It's a bit of a no-brainer, really.
But that's a good one. Now, the last question from Standing in the Park was oh no, it wasn't Standing in the Park, somewhere else. Is an air rifle, and remember, we're talking about game and things like that. Is an air rifle, if so, what one? Or crossbow, if so, what one? Best. So that was one of the questions.
Yeah, but I think an air rifle is excellent for harvesting small game if you've got an access to shooting from your house, say at squirrels, rats, birds, rabbits, etc. Absolutely excellent item. Go for one that you can pump up by hand. One that you can recharge with a pump, or a brake barrel one where it's just got a spring. And I was speaking about this before we went on air to Chris, and there are pellet making kits which involve melting scrap lead and pouring them into a pellet mold which cuts them off at the right size, and you can have unlimited ammunition as long as you can find lead to smelt into pellets. It's quite a simple process, and it means you'll never run out of ammunition.
Wow.
So yeah, excellent idea. Crossbow, better for harvesting larger game if you was to be after farm animals that are gone feral in a without rule of law situation, obviously. And I'd just go with an ordinary 200-pound pull straight crossbow. I wouldn't go for a compound crossbow because there's too many wheels, pulleys, and cams to go wrong. And if anything goes wrong on one of those, and it's just really a paperweight.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything with it. So stick with a simple crossbow that's maybe 100-pound pull or something like that, so you can cock it by hand, as opposed to having to have a crank system for cocking the crossbow. You can spend a lot of money on crossbows. The air rifle is a good idea, but as far as firing things at small game goes, it's quite labour intensive, and you burn a lot of calories and spend a lot of time harvesting a small amount of game. My own personal preference is to set out traps, snares, and nets to harvest small game, which means you can be doing other things while these traps and snares are working for you, and all you have to do is go and check them every so often and get out whatever you've caught and reset them for the next item to arrive. Hunting is a bit of a, it's long-winded business where you have to be actually there actively. It's you taking out game by waiting for it, and it's a very time-consuming thing, and that's the only downside. But as far as an item to have, an air rifle is brilliant. It's a good option, and so is a crossbow. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Good point. And I was going to say, I'm sorry, I was very rude of me. I chimed in earlier, and that is, if you want to know how to make one of these, if you're there's a chap called Todd's Workshop. He actually made one using just one knife, I think it was. He shows you how to make one, a very simple crossbow, which I think was quite effective. And also, there's the Slingshot channel, German.
George Sprav is fantastic.
Yeah, he really is good. So those two places are worth checking out. And now we covered the book and everything. Shall we go? Do you want to carry on a little bit more? Or shall we go into chat? Because we've got so many in chat now. Please excuse me if I don't read out. I can't read out.
I'm eager to answer people's questions that are in the chat, because I'm mainly here to help people.
Right. Well, I'll just say a broad good evening to everybody, because we were trying to make this program as concise as possible. So please don't take it personally if I don't read it out. So hello, everybody. We're all in there. Oh, Edge Crusher's in there. Good evening. Hello. Yeah. Hello, Edge Crusher. Right. And everybody else. And there's Kat and everybody, Paul and that. Now here we are. Now there's an interesting one here from Paul Green. Hi, everyone. What is Dave's opinion on canned cheese? We used to have it in ration packs. So obviously he's been in the forces.
Oh, my opinion on canned cheese is the same as my opinion on canned everything else. It's a great idea. Anything that's canned is going to be long life. You're able to ignore the use by date largely, and as long as it's not the can hasn't become blown or swollen up, then you know it's safe to eat. So canned cheese is a good one. Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, and we got
quite an interesting question here from someone called Hatchy Catchy.
No. Hello.
What does one eat in the winter months? If you'd like to read that question.
Oh, certainly. I was going to say, been saving large jars. Okay, we're going to go down to that one. Well, it's quite a way down, that one, isn't it? I'm just trying to find it.
It's at the top here. That's the only reason I've spotted it.
Yes. Good God, I can't find just one moment. There's so many here. Got Rose, actually. I'm recommending. I can't. I don't think it's on my one. Let's have a quick look.
I can read it out for you if you like.
Okay, if you could. I'll be looking for it as you're reading it out.
Yeah, with respect, what does one eat in the winter months? Lucky down south, most English seaweed is edible. However, dandelion and nettles are not available. Very good point. This is why I go with storing lots of canned food. Because
here it is. Yes.
Your wild edibles are not really available in the winter months. Now, as far as eating things that you can gather in the winter months, if you can get to a riverbank or a seaside, you're never going to starve, because you can harvest lots of shellfish, swimming fish, and other items that are well able to support you without any vegetable matter all the way through winter. So you'd rely more on animal protein and animal minerals in the winter months, and take advantage in the summer months of the wild edibles which we referred to earlier.
Okay, and there's one that's now fitting in. Is this okay? Yorkshire Rose. Hello, Dave. Questions. I'm asking for a good recommendation for a camping stove. Portable and easy to use in an emergency. By the way, dandelion, good for fighting spike protein shedding. That's an interesting one. So shall I hold up my little piece of handiwork?
I'll let Chris take over with his homemade alcohol penny stove.
This is a penny stove, and it cost me less than a penny to make. And you can go onto YouTube and you see loads of websites showing you how to make one. And I made this, and it's just 2 tin cans. And my little tip is you've got to fit 1 tin can inside the other, and they're both the same size. So what I found the easiest way is to put the bottom bit in the freezer for an hour or two, and then with a hot air blower or hair dryer or whatever, heat the top one up. So the other one's cold, one's top, and it just goes, because one's expanded and the other one's contracted. So that's one way of getting these two tins together. And you just literally, you just put two ends of tins together like that. You make holes around the edge and holes along the top, and you can use a compass point or anything like that. Be careful when you're cutting it out. Wear some gardening gloves because it's pretty sharp, this stuff. This is rather crude. A lot of people just rub this down with sandpaper and it's all nice and silvery and smooth, but my attitude, it's there to do a job, and it's not there to look pretty. It works, and you put a penny in the center where those holes are there, and blue flames come out the sides. Now, this is powered by methylated spirit, or in America, I believe it's called rubbing alcohol, but over here it's called surgical spirit, which you can buy from Boots and places like that. But I found the cheapest is methylated spirits from Toolstation, and you can actually hot. I wouldn't say a big kettle, but you can actually hot a pot of water, and I've done it with this tin of methylated spirits. And what you don't use, you just put your hand over the top or put a cover over it, then pour the rest back into the jar, and that's it. Because it's always spotlessly clean inside. And you can put 2 bricks either side, and then you put the pan over the top. And it's very lightweight, and it fits in your pocket, and it costs you absolutely nothing. You can find Coke cans all over the place. These cans I found laying around, so there it is. So got anything to add, Dave, on that one?
Excellent points by Chris there with his homemade penny stove, an item that can be fabricated in the field in an urban survival situation because you're never more than a few yards away from tin cans. Excellent build, and credit to him for showing this penny stove. My only comment on it is that its use is dependent upon availability of fuel. Now, it's okay as long as you've got your methylated spirits with you, which fair enough, he'll carry. But in a medium to long-term survival situation, you could have quite a difficult job, I'm sure Chris will agree, obtaining methylated spirits or burnable alcohol in an urban or semi-urban survival situation. This is why my personal choice for a stove would be something similar to the Bushcraft Essentials Bush Box or the Firebox stove, which runs on twigs, which you can find in any small woodland area. It runs on leaves, twigs, refuse. You can burn anything in it, and it folds flat, and it's not dependent on having to carry fuel because it burns what's available around it. It is much heavier than Chris's excellent penny stove, which is just about the lightest stove ever built. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both systems, but I think both systems have their merits. And brilliant explanation of how the penny stove works from Chris, and thanks very much for that.
Thanks. May I add though, but whatever you do, don't be tempted to use petrol. You blow yourself up. It's incredibly dangerous if you don't use petrol, because I've heard some twits have used petrol and you get burnt. It can only work on the vapor, and petrol is too volatile. It's got boom, and you can blind yourself. So it's only methylated spirit and surgical spirit or rubbing alcohol that these run on. So I just thought I'd add that on, because you might find someone saying, my little boy made one and blew himself up. So that's a little word of warning there. Okay. Right. Are we ready for some more here? There's an interesting one from Yorkshire Rose, who I believe is in Canada. She said, plants that are a good indicator of growing near fresh water. I am recommending getting a basic first aid book.
Yeah, excellent point from Yorkshire Rose. First aid is extremely important. This is going to speak to an excellent item shown at the beginning by Chris, which is the shemag, one of which I'm currently wearing as a ridiculous disguise. His is a green one, mine's the NATO issue Desert Sand version. Now, this can be used as various first aid applications, which it has. It can be a tourniquet, a sling, a bandage, got a number of first aid applications, but you require the actual first aid knowledge to do it, which obviously would be a great idea to, as the viewer pointed out, to have a good basic first aid book. Excellent idea, and I was going to save that topic for a later episode.
Yeah,
you can't fit everything in one go.
there's another one here. This is Kat Holdsworth. Very good, thanks, Kat. What do you think of clay chimeneas? Chimeneas, Dave,
Yeah.
for cooking can use small logs. So I don't know much about. I made a rocket stove from cement and perlite. You can find out on the
chimeneas
internet.
are absolutely excellent because you can just place a wire coat hanger over the top as a pot stand, or take your shelf out of your oven, stick that on as a grill plate on the top of a chimney. Obviously, anybody who's been using one knows that it's only really suitable for cooking once you've let the flames die down, and you've got coals in the bottom where just heat comes out, very similar to a barbecue. But yeah, great item to have. Chimney, good for off-grid cooking if or when the gas and electric are switched off. It's a great item to have if you've got the fuel for it. And in a bug-in situation, if you've had a chance to store small logs, which the viewer correctly pointed out is great fuel for a chimney. If you haven't stored any logs, you can remove every third floorboard from your house and use that with still maintaining the integrity of your floor, which is obviously important if you don't want to fall through it, kind of thing. But you can burn wood harvested from every third or fourth floorboard in an emergency, or cut windowsills off and things like this. Wooden furniture as well. So yeah, chimney, excellent idea. That wasn't meant to be a poem.
Right, there's a very good comment here, and I agree with this. Thanks, Kat. Remember to add likes to this. Yes, there's a lot of likes on the last one, so thank you very much for that. Now, there's another one from Yorkshire Rose. Good basic toolkit for women, i.e. physical strength, not my greatest asset. That's a good point, actually, because there may be women on their own. Also, what a woman could use for self-defense, we've got to be a bit careful, this is Britain, or websites to look at.
I can actually, if you'd like me to show a women's self-defense item, I can do that for you to answer this viewer's question.
Yeah, why not?
My jacket. This being a working biro. It's a biro, has a screw lid, takes Parker refills. It's made out of solid stainless steel with a tungsten spike on the end, which is obviously only intended for emergency use, to possibly break a car window to release a dog which is too hot. You'd be lawfully allowed to do that because you're acting to prevent a crime, because it's actually a crime to boil a dog to death in your car. So the tungsten spike on the end is a glass breaker. And this is a writing pen, it's a writing implement. So its primary purpose is not self-defense, and obviously it'd be at hand, and as a last resort to use if you was attacked. You definitely wouldn't use it or carry it for the purpose of self-defense, because that'd be illegal. But you could use it in case you was to have to escape from a vehicle which had crashed, using the aforementioned tungsten tip as a glass breaker, and it's pocket-sized and it's a pen.
And also, if you're in a house which has got double glazing, because double glazing
escape from a burning house,
That's right. You can escape from a burning house.
Yeah.
Very useful. Very useful. And there are websites that show there's a gentleman on there that goes through. It's a British one as well. Ladies self-defense, and what he says. I mean, I'm no expert. I'm only going by what he says. He says this sounds disgusting, but if someone's going to attack you, spit in their face, spit in their eyes, and you can get away. So that's was it a
Lixada pen.
Lixada, right? Laixa, I think that is Lixada pen. That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
No, LAIX. It's Laix, not Lixada. I'm confused.
No,
with
sorry.
The cheap stove.
Now, Chris has put something here which I can't read out because it's, remember, I'm on YouTube. I'll just quickly show it on the screen. Okay, I hope you understand, mate. Nothing personal, but I've got to be very careful. Okay, and it's not really on what we're talking about tonight, but we're probably going to cover this in a BitChute show. Okay, and I've just put that on the screen, but I hope you understand the reason why I'm not reading it out. And nothing, I don't want to get banned. And so, okay, I'll just leave that on there. Right. Now we've got here. Louis Wilcox. My self-defense item would be a machete, but the pen can be mightier than the sword. Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? I like that one. Pen mightier than the sword.
Yeah, excellent point by Louise there. But unfortunately, if you was to carry a machete around with you, you could probably have some awkward explaining to do when every member of the public that you walk past rings the police.
Yeah. Oh, Chris has been very good there. Thanks, mate. It's okay. I lost 11 channels. I get it. We can cover it on BitChute, but we've got one more and I'm off, so I've got to be careful. Thanks, mate, for being understanding. Right now, are we going to go on to footwear? Shall I show off my boots?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I believe I suffer from freezing cold feet in the winter. Always have done. And whatever you do, when you go to the market, don't buy these, excuse my language, bloody awful thermal nylon socks, because your feet get soaking wet because they don't allow the perspiration to escape. And when your feet get damp, then it lets the coldness in. So my advice is get some Merino
wool.
Merino wool, that's it. Socks. You can get them on eBay. I actually bought 3 pairs today for $8.99, so they're not going to break the bank. But if you want to know about boots, here we go. These are Altbergs. This is the Altberg boot, and also it's come up on my screen. And I'm a tight-fisted get. Now, if you went to buy these new, you're talking about £180 new, because they are the crib. But Colin is the boot expert, and he goes for lower, which you're talking about 250 on. They're German. They are the, shall we say, they are the crib. These are the next ones down. And the British Army use them, and a lot of armies around the world. And guess how much I paid on eBay for them? Now remember, these are 150, 160 pounds new. 23 quid. Reason why is this had actually torn out. It was a fault or something. I torn out the side, so I just put a couple of pot rivets in. I repaired it. And these are, I don't think they're brand new, virtually brand new. So for 23 quid, I got some brand new Altbergs. And there's a lot of people going, it's tight-fisted git. But apparently with these, you can stand in an ice cold river and your feet will be dry, absolutely dry. So these are, and walking around in the rain, not a problem at all. You've got to also treat them with a special polish because the leather, and these are not Gore-Tex. There's another material that they use in here which is apparently better than Gore-Tex, which dries your feet off So, these are, as I say, for the British Army to use, and they must be pretty good. And the good thing is you can wear them under your trousers, and they look like hiking boots. They don't look like sort of army boots, do they? So I just thought I'd show that one. So I'm not a footwear repairer, but I'm a DIY bloke and a repairman, so I repair almost anything. And you can see here, I do. There's the pop rivet there on the other one there, because that had just come out and torn the leather with it, but it's very thick leather. And little tip: this is grade 1, probably worn once, if that, off the internet. They're army surplus. Put salt inside, and that gets rid of anything nasty. So I put salt in either boot, and that gets rid of anything, bicarbonate soda or anything like that. And it's, as I say, these look as if they just come out of the box. I mean, you can see they're absolutely super condition. So there we are. And you're thinking, people are thinking, Jemmy sod, 23.
Excellent demonstration of some really great boots by Chris there. Referring to his comment that you can actually stand in cold water with these boots on. This is actually a great method for cooling your feet without getting them wet. If you've been hiking for a long time in summer, you can stand in an ice cold stream with these boots. And I have the lower version, lower boots, and you can with them. And they're very, very good for cooling your feet. Also, referring back to the merino wool socks that Chris correctly pointed out as an excellent product. For those who are allergic to wool, you can get the Commando 1000 mile socks, which are a twin layer sock lined with cotton. And these are almost as good as the merino wool sock, but you avoid any kind of wool allergy problems.
Well, I've got all of that wool allergy on my feet, and what I wear is underneath these socks. Now, I don't think you can, I'm not sure you can get them in this country, but I'll get them off eBay, and they come from Poland. They're actually shipped from Poland, and that is bamboo socks. So instead of cotton socks, they're bamboo, and they soak up perspiration, because that's what you've got to guard against, perspiration in your feet, because that is what lets the cold in. Dampness lets cold in. So you've got to lick that away. And I've found that if I put they're very like summer socks. You put these bamboo socks on, and then you put the merino wool socks over the top, and I don't get any problems. So, that's it. And we got here. Now it's got here hiking socks for good. Says Cat. That's a pretty good one. And Gore-Tex boots, excellent too. Yes, well, these have got not Gore-Tex, got something else. That's Gore-Tex.
Pertex.
Yeah, I think is that you know more about that than I do.
For those, just to interrupt, if you don't mind, Chris, while we're talking about socks and boots, for those people who are maybe haven't got any military issue Gore-Tex boots or haven't got waterproof footwear in general, Sealskin's Gore-Tex socks are an excellent option because they give you virtually the same performance as Gore-Tex boots. Well, not virtually the same, but pound for pound they're as good. And they're a much cheaper item, and they actually are genuinely waterproof Gore-Tex socks called Sealskins. Again, a military issue product. We seem to always refer to the products that we're having as military issue, and that's because, generally speaking, it's the best kit there is.
Also, you want a good coat, and I've actually got, and it was new, not secondhand. I'm a bit iffy with clothing with secondhand, and that is, I got a German army parka, which is like an ordinary coat, and that is really warm. It's like putting a radiator up in the winter.
Item, yeah, good point.
And also,
a good part of the cover element in the 5 C's of survival. Your clothing is actually part of the cover element. You'll supplement that with other cover elements in a survival situation, but your clothing is the first line of the cover element in the 5 C's, which is important.
I also buy, for survival, darker stuff, not camouflage. I don't buy camouflage. I wear blacks, greys, greens, because when you look around urban environments, there's concrete, there's brick. You want to blend in. You don't want to put bright red or bright yellow. You just want to blend in. And my backpack is black, so it's all dark colours. Sounds a bit drab, but if you blend in the background, if you wear camouflage in an urban environment, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb, quite honestly. I don't like camouflage stuff. So just blend in. But another one is for long johns, I buy Swedish. New, I never buy second. But Swedish and Italian are very good, but they're cotton. I don't use polyester mix. I use cotton. Now, cotton is not good, really, but these Swedish ones are absolutely excellent. And again, look on the Army Surplus on eBay. I sometimes wear two pairs, one over the other, and the Italian ones are brilliant. They really are. Now, the other one, somebody here has put here, you can buy bamboo underwear and socks in the UK. My daughter bought me some. Oh, well, okay, yeah. Well, I couldn't find it, but yeah, I'll have a shufty for that. So I didn't realise that. I know my ones came from Poland, but not underwear, but But now we got here. What's this? Hang on, this is an interesting one. This is brand new. The new world order is real. Just a little side note. Earlier last year, I think it was the Wales government that sent out an alert on their website to get to prepping or have a go bag because of a word I won't mention. Now that's interesting. I seem to recollect that. Do you remember that, Dave?
I do, and I have this terrible feeling that they want you to pack a go bag with a toothbrush and some soap in, so that you can avoid them having to pay your hygiene costs when you get to the FEMA camp.
That's right. And I've got a theory why they're letting fit young men over the channel from overseas, especially from Afghanistan, into the country, because who's going to be policing us? You don't want people of your own culture doing it. You want somebody of an alien culture who won't really give much of worry, because they'll be threatened that if they don't do what they're told, they won't get a British passport.
Excellent point. Slightly off topic, but very interesting just the same. Impressive. Would anybody in the viewer comments care to see some examples of equipment which can cover the 5 C's of survival out of my personal collection, which I'm happy to show? Or
Right.
would you rather me continue to answer questions?
Well, we've got here, I'll just put up the 5 C's of survival: cutting, cordage, cover, container, combustion, candling. Now, you mentioned this container, Dave.
Yeah.
Is it available off? Now, you did mention the name, and I didn't make a note of it. I'm terribly sorry. It's most rude of me. And I'll keep that up underneath here. Is it available off eBay, and sort of how much? You know how much it is and that?
Well, there's just an unlimited number of containers available for survival purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the ultimate kind of gear is the Guyot Designs stainless steel bottle by Nalgene. Here is an example of that. Absolutely excellent item, able to boil water and able to be hung over a fire with the addition of a stick which goes across inside and hooks, similar to a fish gag, which is just a bar on a piece of cordage. This is an absolutely essential item to be able to boil water when you're in the field. And it actually nests with various cups, one of which I've got here. This is from the Bushcraft store. Really excellent heavy-duty pot with a built-in hanger to hang over a fire to cook in, and also butterfly handles to use it as a drinking cup instead. Absolutely excellent heavy-duty item, and as I explained a minute ago, it actually packs together to go in a bag of
Is
your
it stainless
choice.
steel? It looks stainless steel to me.
It is stainless steel. It's heavy
Yeah.
duty stainless steel. And
I don't like aluminium myself. I'm a bit anti-aluminium.
Well, I definitely wouldn't recommend aluminium. Now, there's a big leaning in the bushcraft community now towards having these items made out of titanium. Now, it's very, very lightweight, and it has all the same properties as stainless steel, but it's quite easy to dint, and because it's really thin and light, I just don't believe it cuts it as far as I'm concerned. It's stainless steel, and that's it all the way. I just swear by these, and it's the best item that you can get for the container portion of the 5 Cs. It's that simple. There's lots of makes you can get, and they're improvisable in the field. You could get a bean can and burn the plastic lining out of it, dig a couple of holes in, and you've got a container that can hang over a fire. But I say better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it again. This comes up a lot.
And they don't cost the earth, I don't think. I don't think that.
No, it's about this bottle's about 40 odd quid, and this was £15. But it's really, really heavy duty. Phenomenal piece of equipment. That's the container element covered, really, because you don't want too many containers, because stainless steel, being heavy duty, is quite heavy as well.
Yeah.
I've got another item of the cutting element here, which is the Mora Companion bushcraft knife. Arrives absolutely razor sharp.
It's a
14
Mora
pound.
MORA, is that?
MORA, Swedish Scandi grind, arrives absolutely razor sharp. Cheap item, under £15. Comes with a plastic sheath. Very light, fantastic item again.
That's good. Do you get them? Do you have to send to Sweden, or I guess there's people that like?
Oh no, there's just everybody and his dog sells them on the internet. They're just very, very widely available, cheap, and you actually have a drainage hole in the sheath to allow water to run out if you're in a situation where it does get filled up with water. And many survivalists have pointed out that if you was to pack this sheath with charcoal which you've made on your fire, this becomes an excellent filter funnel to pour dirty water through, because it's got a hole in the end, and it makes a mini filter which can be improvised in the field if you know what you're doing, obviously. You can have several layers to the filter inside this item, which makes it a multi-use item, and this is key. Your items should be multi-use.
Yes, I always believe in having backup as well, if you can afford the weight. But that brings us on to water, which has been the biggest topic of the lot, which people are talking about.
The most vital resource.
That's right. Now you got it separates the men from the boys, I found. You see, you've got the hardline Berkeys, and then you've got the British sort of equivalent made by Dalton. I don't know if they're the same people that make the Carsies, Raw Dalton. I don't know. And then you've got zero water, and then you've got the Mambi-Pampi Brita filters. And I did a test on my tap water this week because I've got a tester, and it's a good idea. You can get them off of eBay. They're about £4 or £5. They're very cheap. And my tap water came out at 320 parts per million. 320. That's high. And after the Brita filter went through, it went down to 140. That's still pretty high. I went outside. I've got some water butts, and they're between you and I, they're really manky. I mean, they haven't been washed out for years. They've washed over a shed roof that's got bird crap on it, and you name it. So it's minging basically. But I poured the water. I put the tester in it. It came out at 5 parts per million. 5. But those 5 parts are probably E. coli. It would make you sick if you don't have water. But I was talking to a chappie who was saying, he's a plumber, straight up, and he said, we were talking about the Berkey and we were talking about these in water filters, and he said, I mean, some people say you can't filter, we shouldn't filter ordinary sort of filthy water through a Berkey. It's got to be tap water or well water. So he was talking about this, and I said, well, what about you doing the old conventional filter with charcoal, sands and gravel? And he said, well, hang on a minute, you can get a 12-volt ultraviolet lamp, which kills bacteria. Do you know any more about that, Dave, where this sort of...
ultraviolet filters are a bit of a gimmick, to be fair, because they're very heavy on batteries, and you can recharge these ultraviolet filters with solar panels, which again is more gear to carry. I used to have an ultraviolet filter on my fish tank to destroy pathogens in the marine environment when I used to have an expensive fish tank. But I just really, as far as battery operated or mains operated ultraviolet filtration systems go, you can probably spend thousands of pounds having one installed in your house if it's a commercial one. But as far as in the field goes, ultraviolet sterilization is easily accomplished by highly polishing any glass bottle, or having a very clear, optically clear plastic bag, which you can buy for this purpose. And you can operate a system known as sunning, which means you leave your clear container of previously filtered water that's got no turbidity in it, so it's very clear water. This is crucial. And then you leave that out in the sun all day, and the ultraviolet light from the sun will kill all pathogens in that water in about 7.5 hours. But it relies on not having clouds in the way, which means in Britain it's not as reliable as it would be in, say, Arizona or some other hot climate. But it's called sunning, and it's a method of ultraviolet filtration, sterilization, that doesn't require any batteries, because it's obviously operated by the sun. I am familiar with that process, but I don't think it's reliable. I think it's good to have it as a tool for your toolbox if you know how to do that. Brilliant. Again, that kind of knowledge, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Good point. And I was talking to the chap in this health food shop where I go to, and he's got a zero filter, and he said, don't drink distilled water. No, it's not good for you. And
we covered this in the last video. Distilled water being an aggressive solvent can leach vital minerals like calcium and sodium out of the body, which are essential for correct heart function, liver function, immune system function, and things. Distilled water, okay, as a short-term hydration option if you can only distill seawater. Say you were stuck in a sea environment with no fresh water available. It's a very short-term measure, shouldn't be relied upon. Distilled water. I have actually got an electric distiller, and I was distilling water and then remineralizing it with Himalayan salt and sea salt to replace the minerals. Also, amazingly, actually turns itself into carbonic acid just through exchange with the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere at the surface. And its pH goes down and down and down on its own and becomes acidic. Obviously, you can buffer this with bicarbonate of soda or drop some white pebbles off the beach in there to counteract this. Again, you're remineralizing it. So, it has
it's perfect for your car battery. That's about the only thing I can think of distilled water for. Car batteries. They're very good for that.
Yeah, ions.
Yeah. Someone's put some interesting... Louise and Kat put some interesting things here. I'll read Kat's one out first, and then... I'll leave... she put another one here. Now, I've found the same problem with my water butt. She said, after the recent heavy rain, my water butt had all weird froth. That's right. That's exactly what I've had at the top. Strange. It's like someone put washing up liquid there. It was all frothy, and it was like an oil over the top of the water. Very, very weird, and not nice. Now, that's probably the chemtrails. Now we've got here Louise has put here.
Louise Wilcox here. This viewer Louise is actually putting some excellent questions, and I'm very impressed with these comments.
Surely all these filters are okay whilst the taps are running. What
Correct.
is the best source and how to purify in survival mode? Now that's a bloody good question. So I'm afraid only you can answer that one.
Yeah, well, I carry as an everyday carry item a Drink Safe Systems UK water straw, and this you can drink out of any river or any lake or a puddle, anything apart from seawater, and it purifies it from chemicals, bacteria, alleged viruses, and any other contaminant that's in there. And it's Drink Safe Systems water straw. I carry that in my pocket at all times.
So it's Drink Safe?
Yeah, it's just a straw, and I have actually got one here. If anybody would like to see it, I don't know.
Please,
if you would. But it's in my jacket, John, if that's all right.
So it's Drink Safe Water Systems.
Drink Safe Systems UK water straw. Purifies about 500 litres before it's used up, and this can really
it's interesting.
can really help you. It's quite a small item. I'll just unwrap it from various spare gaps.
We seem to be world leaders in purifying water in the UK, don't we? We seem pretty good.
Drink Safe Systems UK. I've actually spoke to the owner of the firm on a number of occasions about his products and things, and he's developed some excellent products. And here it is. It's got a cap on to protect it when it's not in use. If you unscrew the end and stick it in up to the line, and then just put your mouth on the other end and drink. And just as an added precaution here, and also a very good way of increasing this filter life from 600 litres to 6,000. If you was to wrap part of your shemag round the end as a pre-filter to take turbidity out of that before you drink it up, or you could get your container, scoop the dirty water up, and then stick it in through a piece of cloth which is over the top of your bottle. And if you can prevent the gravel and things getting into this, it will last 10 times longer. So your 600 litres becomes 6,000, and that is a lot of water to have in a pocket-sized item.
That's brilliant, that is. I mean, does the chemicals inside go off, or does it something that lasts forever?
Got no chemicals inside. It's based on bone char, activated bone charcoal, and microfibers similar to other proprietary filters. But this is the best water straw in the world, bar none. There's the live straw. They do the live straw as well, which is a bit cheaper, but it doesn't remove chemicals. This removes chemicals. This does what the Berkey does, but on a much smaller scale, pocket size. A fantastic item to have.
Are they expensive? Are they
reasonable? 20 quid.
That's not bad to save your life.
And this fits in your pocket. It's just like a marker pen size.
Do you know when it's stale, when you can't use it anymore?
It'll stop allowing water through when it comes to the end of its life, which means it's got a safety shut off. So you can't ever drink dangerous water with this. And it's foolproof, and it's a no-brainer. Get one.
Yeah. That is
comes with a little case like this. I mean, I've had mine a long time, so I've got some gaffer tape around it because the case is deteriorated, but I apologise for that. But there it is.
Brilliant. I bet you carry that with you all the time, don't you?
That's part of my everyday carry. I was going to display my everyday carry items for the viewers, but we seem to get sidetracked onto different subjects.
I know what you mean. Well, I think probably backpacks. Could we do one on backpacks soon? Because
I'm talking everyday carry. I'm talking about things that are on your person.
Well, day packs, I mean, that sort of thing.
No, on your person, in your pockets.
Oh, I know what you mean, yes.
So you're not carrying any bags. It's just your everyday carry. And it's items that are multi-use. Things like, you can wear this as a scarf. This is the military shemag that you were referring to earlier on. A million different uses. Things like the water straw fits in your pocket. Things like this pen that I referred to earlier, escape and evasion item, potentially self-defense in an emergency. What we haven't touched on, I don't know if you mind me suggesting,
Far away.
something that nobody really talks about in a survival situation, but one of the most important things, probably one of the most important things, is the toilet requirements.
Yes.
Bodily functions, removing bodily waste and things. People say, oh yeah, you want to be carrying a plastic bag with a load of toilet paper in. Now, this is okay, but it's a single-use item. Personally, I'm going to have to recommend washable rags, similar to this. Washable rags, right? So you'd be using this in place of toilet paper and then washing it downstream from where you gather your water to boil to drink, obviously. Downstream. You'll wash this downstream so that obviously you don't want to contaminate your drinking water in a given area. But washable rags for toilet purposes last forever, never ever runs out, and they're a lot smaller than toilet paper to carry. Takes up no space. We'll leave it at that for that one.
That is a really good idea. And back to what they were saying about when the taps run dry.
Yes.
You recommend, because somebody told me there's a British firm and there's the Berkey, and they were the same ones. And they split. I don't know how true that is, because I know the British version of the Berkey filters can fit it, but again, I've seen some YouTube sites. Some people say don't put river water in the Berkey, and some people say, well, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, well, it is perfectly okay, but I'll just add a caveat to that. If you're using river water in your Berkey, or lake or pond or puddle water in your Berkey, or water in your Berkey, or that's run off your roof, then you really need to put it through again a cotton rag, shemag. Put it through any kind of rag to get the turbidity out of it, because this will mean that you've got to wash your Berkey filter modules very, very regularly if you don't get all the mud out the water first. You should remove the turbidity as much as possible. I was saving this for a later episode, and I intend to bring it. My Millbank bag. You've probably heard of one because you've got parents who was in the military and things. The Millbank bag is the perfect item for removing turbidity from water that you plan to boil to drink. It just removes everything down to about 1 micron. Now, it's important to mention that if you're going to use a Millbank bag, which is a cotton bag which you hang up, fill it with water after you've soaked it. It has to be soaked on the inside and outside. You let it run down to the line, and then allow the water that's in the bag, which holds a couple of litres, run into your container. It still then needs to be boiled to kill bacteria, alleged viruses and other pathogens, parasites, giardia, etc., various microscopic snails, leeches, whatever. It'll look clear when it comes out of the Millbank bag, but not safe to drink until it's boiled.
That's interesting. Good point.
So
you've explained that perfectly. Thanks, Dave.
Well, this extends the life of any carbon filter, charcoal filter, hollow fibre filter. Extends the life of these filters by tenfold.
Well, where I am, I'm very lucky because just around the corner from where I live, there's a stream that even in midsummer has got water running through. I'm not far from a river. There's lakes nearby, so water I don't think would ever be a problem where I live, because.
No. But what people have to remember, if you don't mind me interjecting there,
certainly.
I just want to point out that if people are going to grab water out of rivers and things, and they're a bit maybe not that knowledgeable about removing bacteria and things. You have to remember that there could be a dead animal laid in that stream upstream that you can't see. There might be a dead rat in there. There could be a pigeon in there, right? This is rotting in the water, and then further downstream where you're grabbing it, you are grabbing what looks perfectly clear, right? But it's full of bacteria and things. Now, if you've got nothing with you, you can dig what's called various people, it's got various names. It's a coyote well or a gypsy well. And what you'll do is you'll move back from the water's edge by about 18 inches and then dig a hole until that hole is deep enough to start filling up with the water table water from that stream. And then this removes any danger of pathogens that have come from upstream where there may be a dead animal laid in the water. It can't then get into what you are processing. So if you're not able to boil water in a dire emergency, you can actually drink that water from a gypsy well if you're fairly sure that there is no really bad industrial chemicals in it. So if you was out in the proper wilderness, you'd be fairly sure that there wasn't. And removing all this through various layers of sand that are naturally there in the stream bed, you're taking advantage of the natural terrain to remove this thing from the water. And it makes it a million times safer. It's no substitute for boiling it. And also, if you're able to make fire, you could throw handfuls of charcoal in that gypsy well and leave it in there for an hour to seep round the charcoal, which means that if you was unlucky enough to come across a stream with chemicals in it, then you're adding a charcoal layer without having to actually carry anything. All you need is a digging stick. So it's an expedient water gathering technique if you've got nothing.
That's great, because that's explained absolutely perfect. Really, absolutely clear as anything. Brilliant, Dave. Thanks for that. And I'll tell you something, around where I live in the newspapers about 20, 30 years ago, Weil's disease was very common around here, and it comes from rat's urine. You've got to be very careful because there's canals.
Is it similar to Lyme's disease?
I don't know, but they call it Weil's disease. And
Yeah.
as I say, it comes from rat's urine. I'm not medically trained, I really don't know, but they said be careful if you're around the riverbanks and things like that. Wash your hands and blah 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 blah, and don't drink the water. Don't even wash in the water, because if you get it over you, it could seep into your skin and things like that. If you rub your eyes, it gets in. And I don't know, I haven't heard anything about it for the last 20, 30 years, but there's still rats around, so there we know.
Yeah.
Now we've got one from Louise here. Louise, let me know what stream you're going to wash your clothes in, please, Dave, because I want to be down.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. No, it is. You're referring to the washable rags for toilet use.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, it's it's a really a self-preservation kind of thing, and you're not having any concern for who might be downstream. To be fair, it's a hardcore personal survival technique, right? And it's not meant to be socially acceptable, or you're not really prioritizing whoever might be downstream. It's a devil may care attitude to others, unfortunately, because they're going to have the same attitude towards you.
Now we've got here British Birkfield. Sounds like Berkey, doesn't it? Is the water filter gravity system? Yeah. I don't know. As I say, I think it's Dalton. I don't know whether they're linked with Royal Dalton, the people that make the toilet.
No, I mean, the key difference between the Berkey and loads of other filters that are out there is they remove absolutely everything, and two filter modules will purify from any source 23,000 litres before it needs replacing. That's a lot.
I mean, Louise here has written something that's very, not so much about survival. It said, it is the start of 1,000 years of peace, but to get there, you will need an inner strength and determination of epic proportions.
Yeah, I fully agree with a lot of what Louise Wilcox is saying. I'm really impressed with some of these questions and comments that Louise is putting out there.
Yes.
The number one tool that you need for survival before anything else is the will to do it, the will to survive. If you can't keep that alive, you may as well not have any equipment and just give it up.
Do you remember Ray Mears showed you? I'm sure you know more about this. There was a ship that went down. There was 2 lifeboats, and one lifeboat, the captain of the lifeboat was very negative,
Yeah.
and the other one very positive.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned this last time. I remember it very well.
Yeah,
Good point.
yeah.
Good story. Yeah.
And the positive one, the people just walking up and down the deck when they're rescued, and the negative one, that'd be taken off in stretchers.
Half of them was dead. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other one here, which is quite an interesting observation that a person has made, and of course it's about what's happening there. This is from Lavender Moon Crystals. I find it so unbelievable we're having to talk about this like a parallel world. That is quite right. Although preppers have been knowing this for, I'd say decades now, because even in the 70s people were prepping. And it's gone a long time, and now it's got here. What was it? Very true, Dave. Self-survival, unless we can build communities who support each other, truly 100%. Thanks, Dave. The check is in the post. Well, I don't know. We've been on over an hour. Is there anything you'd like to add, Dave, before we sign off tonight?
I was going to show some other items that we can save that for another time, if you like.
How do you feel? Do you want to do it tonight, or shall we?
Well, a particularly important element of the 5 C's of survival is cover, which is cover away from the elements. Now, it passes this.
Hang on, I'll just put my banners on. I'll do the 5C. I'll put it on again. So we've got.
This is a very, very cheap item here for people. I do have some very expensive items, but this is very cheap. It's a emergency bivvy bag, sleeping bag. Now, it is woodland camo, as everyone can see on the outside, but on the inside, it's actually mylar, and it's high quality mylar, and it's reusable. It's not one of these like medical thermal blankets. It's very good. It's nearly the size of a double sleeping bag. This. So there's plenty of room for a full person in there. Now, obviously, its main purpose is to keep you alive by reflecting all your body heat, with it being mylar. But something that I've discovered and that nobody's really talking about much. I mean, there's the odd person that's onto this on the internet. But when you're inside it, because it reflects over 99.8% of your body heat, this actually makes you invisible to thermal imaging cameras that are on helicopters. So if the government was trying to locate you for some reason, to take you to a FEMA camp or impound you or whatever, they wouldn't be able to rely on their thermal imaging equipment to catch you if you had one of these in your pocket. And it's very small. You can see, here's my hand. That's packable, that's pocket size. And this is waterproof and will keep you alive in freezing temperatures with nothing but your ordinary clothes. And they're only about a £5. Absolutely fantastic item on eBay.
It's an eBay job. I mean, there's no real. I mean, what do you think of these shops? What is it? Something and survival and things like that. I mean, I walked in and didn't go much on it and walked out again. But there must be some very good specialist shops around, though.
There are, but what I've found is a lot of the items that are dirt cheap are actually extremely useful, and this is one of them. This is the most useful cheap item I've ever seen. This will keep you alive in the cold. It'll keep you out the rain. You can't be seen because it's woodland camo if you're in a bush environment, or even in some local bushes in an urban environment. You'll get walked past if you was inside that, because it's disruptive pattern material on the outside. And as I've said, if the authorities were looking for you with a thermal imaging camera on an helicopter, then they're going to come unstuck because they aren't going to see any profile. You've seen these police chase shows where there's a bright yellow man running along in the woods, and even though he's under the trees, they can see him as clear as day. Not in this.
Brilliant. I like that, because I've got a feeling what they're going to do is deem certain, because you see the next move is to move people into these cities and clear the countryside. That's, I believe, because all the communists do that. In Romania, Ceausescu try to do that, clear the countryside and push people into cities. In China, they're doing the same, where they can monitor you. Now, what they're going to do, I think, is deem certain areas diseased or whatever, and you've got to evacuate as soon as possible. Just take, basic essentials. This is why you always need a bug out bag, or a bag that that you have your essentials in. But something like that bivvy bag, you could go to ground and they wouldn't know you're there.
That's
You
correct.
can get away. So
this is an excellent escape and evasion item, as well as a survival item.
That's right. Now, there's some really good one. Aunt Sally. Hello, Aunt Sally. And you can prep all you like, but if you are on your own out there, some will take all your stuff if you're not fit, young enough to defend it. Sorry to be negative. This is the reason why it's very important to work out your fitness and always be prepared. Like Boy Scouts.
You can make up for lack of fitness with knowledge. You can do that. Good escape and evasion knowledge and good self-defense knowledge. Doesn't really depend
for
on
the worst.
I was teaching unarmed combat for a while, and it's not dependent on fitness at all. I just need to take a break for about 1 minute, if that's okay with you.
That's okay. Well, what I'll do.
It's unavoidable.
I understand. Don't you worry. I'll read some comments out. Here we go. It said now we got here Edward. This is Mahatma Lawrence. Edward Michael Bear Grylls Adventurer is the 17th great grandson of King Charles IV of Scotland. Just a coincidence. That was old Mahatma Gandhi with a gun in his hand. That's interesting. And then we've got here Aunt Sally agreed, and even if you're at home, people might break in to get your food once the supplies run really low and prices are through the roof. My attitude is prepare for the worst, and it probably doesn't happen that way, because you think about it, some of the best boxers in the world, although I'm not into boxing or sport or anything like that, they have the most shall we say, I wouldn't say aggressive, but they have some really good sparring partners. So troops that have fought the toughest enemies are bloody tough. So we've got a tough enemy out there. We've got to understand it. As an old Chinese saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. So that is a little thing there. Now it says here, we got here, Louise. Yes, Chris, be careful if you live in the cities. Gotta get me some of the bibby bags. Going to turn them into a hooded suit. And Dave's back. Is it okay, Dave? We shove you on again?
I'm back now. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. What I was going to say is I was just saying, people are saying that we need to help each other. And what I was saying is that some of the best troops and the toughest have had the toughest enemy. So if you prepare for the worst, and the worst doesn't happen, you will be, excuse my language, bloody good at what you're doing. Because, in anything, the people that have the toughest get through easier. So, and as I said earlier, some of the best boxers have the toughest sparring partners. Muhammad Ali, he had a tough sparring partner, made him good, didn't it? And Louise is breaking this up. Prepare for the worst. Anything else is a bonus. And Kat has said, I heard Bear Grylls is a fake.
I'd like to speak to that comment, if that's okay.
Certainly.
You heard Bear Grylls as a fake. Now, he's not a fake. He was the youngest guy to climb Everest at 18. And he's excellent on knots, ropes, and mountaineering. But he leaves a lot to be desired on multi-environment survival in general. He makes a lot of mistakes on his shows. And he's actually been found wanting to such an extent that he's had to be airlifted out the jungle, and he's been exposed as spending times in hotels when he's purporting to be living in an hammock in the jungle. He is fake from that standpoint, but he's an excellent ropes and knots guy. One of the best you'll ever see. So he's not fake from that point of view, but I fully agree that he's fake as far as his multi-environment survival techniques go. He's not really up to scratch. He's not what he purports to be.
Well, you could put Bear Grylls and you can put Ray Beers, and as far as I'm concerned, you put them into a cocked hat, because Dave is the best, because he is explaining to you how you can survive. And Bear Grylls and Ray Mears, although they're very good, they're explaining surviving in an environment that very few of us are aware of.
This is why I'm trying to help people. That's a very good point. Yeah, this is why I'm trying to help people.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of excellent survivalists doing various programs. They have Discovery Channel programs and things, and they're like explaining what you do in Norway and what you do in the Sahara Desert and things like this. I'm trying to help people that are in urban, semi-urban environments or woodland environments that might be a choice to move to if you get chased out your house. This is why I'm trying to help people in practical ways, in real world situations. Yeah, I can do the multi-environment. I can do the multi-environment survival techniques all day long, but everybody and his dog's doing them. I'm trying to help people with real world issues here, where you can improvise things that the government may be providing 1 minute and then it may go away the next minute, like housing, fresh water, gas, electricity, etc., etc. I pride myself on being in a position where if the government boots me out of my house, and obviously I've got no gas, no electric and no shelter, I won't be any better off or worse off than I am now. I won't notice. And that's why I've made myself into that, and I'm happy about it. And I'd like other people to try and maybe not go mad on it like I have for a lot of years, but at least get a few tips from me. And hopefully, if it comes to a position where they actually need these skills, they might just remember a few bits of what I've said, and it could help save them and the people they care about.
That is absolutely excellent. You've nailed it on the head there, because the other thing is, look at the worst situation. January, the power goes off. Now your gas won't work because it requires electric to run things. Yeah. So you're freezing cold. Now that's the reason why I showed these boots and the socks. You've got to have warm, because if your feet are not, I've found if your feet are cold, it makes you feel horrible.
Very important to look after your feet. Very important.
Yeah, and this is why I'm saying, and that bivvy bag would be all right in your house if it's freezing cold. You know,
fantastic. I mean, obviously, I have actually, I have got the a British Army NATO issue Gore-Tex bivvy bag here with me as well, but that's like a lot more expensive, and it takes room up. That you couldn't fit that in your pocket. I was looking at this as an everyday carry item, which I was referring to earlier on. That which is on your person in your pockets. That water straw is one, and I have a container which is here, and this rolls out into a bag which contains 1.5 litres of water. And when the top is rolled over and the wires are tied together, it's a very cheap item, this. Mm-hmm. You can actually stand on that and it won't burst. This is a very, very strong container, and it's pocket size. You can fill that up with dirty water and drink through your water straw, which I demonstrated earlier. Mm-hmm. Or you can fill it up with clean water that you've got out of your filter or whatever you want. But that's a container. That does everything apart from able to boil water in it. It does what this does, apart from it fits in your pocket.
Brilliant. Is there a special technical name for it, Dave?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a blood bag from the medical industry, that they have bags of plasma in and things for storage. It's very, very strong, and when it's full, it also stands up. And when you've got maybe this much water in it, that's enough to have it stood up. So you could have that stood underneath a millbank bag, and then save it until you can either boil it or sterilize it with some water sterilizing tablets at a later time. And this is a pocket-sized item again. You don't need to spend loads of money. You just need to know what you're doing. And that's why I'm trying to help people.
So it's a medical, it's like sort of colostomy bag or something, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no, it's like a blood bag that they store blood plasma in and things.
Ah.
I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. I've had it a long time, so the actual use escapes me. But it's here's the name of it if anybody's interested in getting it.
Wool pack.
Yeah.
So wool pack. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you buy about £2 each or something like that. A very, very good item, pocket size, and holds 1.5 litres of water, and it won't leak. It's leak proof.
Wow. Well, Aunt Sally has written something interesting here. I've done martial arts for most of my life. That's interesting. I'm so old now. No, not. But I still know a few really good moves, and certain pressure points are. Well, as I've said before, my dad, he learned unarmed combat during the war. And when he was in his 70s, he did it on me, and he could still put me over on the floor. Because he said it was just, he trained in it. And when I was a kid, him and my uncle, they said, come at us with this broomstick. And I did. And within seconds, I was on the floor. What did he twisted? When you came to it, he grabbed hold of the broom and then twisted it and pushed you off balance. It's very. He never had to use it though. Luckily,
No,
never used it.
Very important skill to have. And a lot of it is very simple.
Oh, it is, and it's a bit
Really
gory as
simple.
well. It can be a bit gory, but what we got here is John Bassinglow, and I think you're in America, aren't you, John? And it says you can run, but you cannot hide. Ultimately, they will sow the area with sensors that pick up vibration, body odor, sound, and heat. See what they used in Vietnam. See Operation Igloo White.
Yeah, John is absolutely correct here. The government, even with various cheap countermeasures which I've outlined, like the thermal camouflage bag, is correct. If you are a wanted individual and they deem you as an important project to go for, they're able to deploy technology which they will catch you and they will have you. But the way I see it is, from my own standpoint, I am an unimportant individual who's just trying to preserve what bit of freedom we've got left. And I'm trying to help people do the same. I'm fully aware that if I was a world famous computer hacker on the run, the government would find me, I would be caught, and they'd do it with all the technology at their disposal. I'm definitely not suggesting that these items make you invisible and and then you can be uncatchable. I mean, I'm reasonably handy at escape and evasion in other techniques, which I haven't gone into. Route obfuscation, track and spur removal and things like this, and I'm able to obfuscate what direction I've gone in and things, and tracking experts won't able to find me. But John's correctly pointed out that they've got technology where they can find you if they really want to, but they'd have to see you as a very important target to do that. So I believe it's largely ineffective on the population as a whole.
Also, suppose you're in an area where you want to get out to a safer area, to say a community of people that you know where you're going to be safe, and you're going to be on the run for a couple of days. They won't be after you personally.
That's correct.
But that you will be able to avoid roadblocks and things and whatever to get through short term. And I think that it might be like that. For example, I know there's a lot of people up in Norfolk, or where you are down in Norfolk, that are prepping, that are in woods and things like that. Well, you might be able to run to safety and be safe with them in deep woodland and things like that, because they'll probably leave them alone. But I think they'll always allow for a few people in the countryside, but it just be the masses, like the masses that are queuing up for the old, that lot. They'll just say, "Oh, get on a nice free coach and you have a lovely, comfortable hotel." They go, "All right," and you can have your when you get there. Now, Kat said this is about Bear Grylls. Sorry, I meant the hotels and stuff. Yeah, we understand. Don't worry. Now it says here. Oops, hang on. What have we got here? John, Chris Lucas. Ultimately, I think they want to put these sensors in you. Yes, I think that's what the what's the old are really about. Maybe not this batch, but probably trying to set future presidents, then add that feature. Well, I know they've been talking about putting sensors in clothing for years, where you walk down the road and say you bought, I don't know, a pair of t-shirt, and it'll have something in it which censors you, and as you're walking down the road, it'll say, "Hey, Dave, have you bought this? And why not buy this pair of trousers to match the t-shirt?" and things like that, advertising at you. That's what I think they're going to do. But this is a good one. Dave. Angela Dempsey saw a US prep video. Hide a stash of food, etc., in case of theft in woods, or dig a hole. A hiddy hole in garden. I mentioned that
survival cache. We actually discussed survival caches 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Chris brought this up, and it's an excellent point. You can get a waterproof, crush-proof container, bury it at a location that you're familiar with, and then if you do have to go on an escape and evasion journey anywhere, you can resupply yourself at that location, meaning that you can carry less things when you set off, enabling you to move more efficiently.
And also, if you go to Wicks, you buy drain pipes with caps. Not drain pipes, guttering pipes with caps. So what you do, you buy a length of guttering, not guttering, waste pipes. I'm terribly sorry. No, waste pipes. Okay, get a length of waste pipe and put tin cans into it. Put 2 caps on either end so to keep it dry. Dig a hole and bury it. Yeah. It's basically that. And somebody's put here. I said, what is it? Louise Wilcox again. But remember, all programs are their programming, correct? No real use to us. Thanks for all the info, Dave. It has all been noted and gratefully received. I agree. Here. You don't get thousands per episode. No, but the people we got in chat and the people we do watch this program, they're very clued up. Hatchie says the environmental jungle in England is miles apart from lighting a fire in the Amazon. Quite right with those programs. Now, Aunt Sally says, I'm definitely buying the bivvy bag. So am I. Yes, I'm going to buy that. And I'll tell you another area where the bivvy bag would be useful. Over 10 years ago, we had a freak snowstorm, and I was caught in my car in this snowstorm. I went out. It must have been January, February time, and everywhere was clear. There's no snow, anything, not a flake of snow, not even that cold. And then all of a sudden, the snow came down, and it would not stop. And I thought I was going to be marooned in my car. Now, that would have been bloody awful. And with that bivvy bag, that would have kept me warm for the night. So, so in not such a situation, then what we've got here, now I've got to be a bit careful here. John Basingloan, you are correct, and I won't read it out, is set up to control surveillance grid in the smart places to control those who are not culled out of the herd. Spot on, John. He's spot on there. Now, Chris says, there is a really interesting video on internet of bodies. I requested that video someone else made on my Fishing for Truth account on Odyssey. Hang on, let's read that again. There is a really interesting video on internet of bodies. I reposted that video. I see. Someone else made on Fishing for Truth account on Odyssey. We'll check that one out. We'll check that one out. That's good. Thank you. Okay. Now, and we got here. I really appreciate what Dave is trying to do. Thank you, Dave. So do I. So do I. So now, that is incredible. Those items. Have you any more to add? Anything to add, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, somebody was referring. It might have been you and a couple of viewers was talking about power cuts and things.
Yes.
This is quite a cheap item. It's waterproof down to 30 feet, and it's a dynamo torch, and it just winds up, and it never needs any batteries ever. And it's an excellent item, fully waterproof. You know, does the job. Pocket size again. Just winds up, never needs any batteries, never any batteries to carry, waterproof. You can see your way in the dark for miles if you're having to walk to another location in the dark. Doesn't get any better. Get one.
Yeah, they're very, very good. You can, it's a bit of a faff, but you can make your own batteries with a jam jar, vinegar, a nail, and electrodes. But you only get about half a volt out of it. So to charge a mobile phone, you'd have to have quite a few jam jars.
You're better off with a wind-up torch.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Right, what we got here? Speaking of Odyssey, this is Chris Lucas. You can move all your videos from YouTube to there for a few clicks. With a few clicks, it may take a week or so, but at least you won't lose content you made if your channel goes away. Thanks for the advice, Chris. Thank you, because I'm worried about that all the time. This is why we've got to be so careful what we say, you know. And I've dropped a clanger before now. We all have. We can't help it, you know. We're human. And Louise has said you can also get wind-up tilly lamps. They are handy for hanging.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, lanterns are excellent. You wind up lanterns. I mean, you can actually hang these up as well, because after you've wound it up, if you leave the handle that way, you can hang it up like that. So if you're in a tent, you can just hang it up like this. And if you put you find like a empty plastic milk bottle, which are the opaque milk bottles, you can just shove it on the end as a diffuser, and it'll be like a giant light bulb in your tent, and the handle is an hanger.
Brilliant. What do you feel about a tent within a tent when it's very, very cold? That's what the Canadians do. The Canadian Army, I think, does that. They have a tent within a tent. So they have like a big, small bibby tent, and then they'll have a bigger tent on the outside. So it's like a
it creates an air barrier. I mean, the golden rule, if you are actually forced to sleep outside, is have something to sleep in, on, and under, and that way you're operating a competent thermal regulation strategy, whereby you're not going to leach body heat into the ground, and you're not going to leach into the air by convection either. Very, very important to preserve body heat or cool the body if it's too hot. I have got a few of them items here as well, but it's getting a bit. We've been here ages now, and you.
Well, I think we prefer best for the next program. And there's other items I could mention, like for instance, how to keep your feet warm in a cold house, and you just out of a cardboard box you can make something, and you just put your feet in a cardboard box that'll keep your feet.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
but there's all kinds of things like you can actually make a candle out of a block of margarine and a piece of string through it. You know,
yeah,
stinks like hell. It stinks horrible. So, but Dave, please come back. It's a really great show. I think. Shall we wind it up now?
Yeah, I'm happy to wind it up, and I'd like to say thank you for thank you to all the viewers who've tuned in, and I hope that some of the advice and stuff I've said helps people. That's all I'm in it for, and thank you for tuning in.
Well,
and
thank you.
Hopefully, I'll see you on here again soon when Chris sorts the next one out or the one after.
Well, I think it's brilliant because out of all the lot, let's put it this way. You are a real prepper, real survival expert, because as I've said before, yeah, Ray Mails and Ray Mears, very nice chap, and Bear Grylls and all that. But we're not going to be in the middle of the Amazon, are we? We're going to be in your house.
This is why I'm here.
That's it. We are here, and what you said tonight, I think you probably save lives in the future by what you said tonight. It's brilliant, and absolutely brilliant. And those, knives and that bivvy bag is, I think that's really got everybody's imagination going. That really has got, because I think it's handy to have in your car, isn't it? Really, you just put it in a glove box.
It's pocket size. This is what I like about it. It's an EDC item. You can carry that in your jacket pocket.
Brilliant.
And it's going to save your life.
It will. Well, it just leaves me to wind up. Thank you very much for coming on, Dave. And
thank you
tomorrow,
for having me, Chris, and thank you to all the viewers.
Well, it's a great pleasure. I really enjoyed it this evening. And poor old John there, he's sitting just out of shot. And but I was going to say, next week we've got Deborah Hatswell on talking about the paranormal.
John's on his way here.
And then we've got Shannon.
John's just coming in the room now. He might want to say goodbye or night or whatever.
Okay. And Dave, are you okay for the week after Shannon?
Definitely. I'll be tuning in to watch the Shannon episode with John.
Excellent. Because I think we're going to have a lot more questions and a lot more people coming on.
Yeah, I've got some more urban survival tools to show as well.
Brilliant. And thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming on. And what I was going to say, if you do buy one of these shamags, you can. I know that you're not too keen on them because of the British military ones.
This is the only one the British military ever issued. It's the Desert Sand version. But the better quality ones are from a firm called Free Soldier. Check them out online, a firm called Free Soldier. They do the best quality woven shamags that there are. They're better than these. Yeah, really? Because this is basically a bit crappy. No, it's not. As long as it's 100% cotton, it's a multi-use item. That's all. That's all that counts. Also, in the winter, when you wash it, it dries very quickly. Yeah, a million different uses. And also, they wrap up very small in your pocket. They're very lightweight. So if you go out with a scarf, it doesn't turn any heads. They're fantastic. I could do an entire episode on uses of the shamag, but that might be boring for people. Well, there's 101 ways of actually wrapping them around your neck. I mean, front ways, back ways, all kinds of things. They are very, very useful. John's here anyway. Anyway, there's John there. Thanks, Dave. Hello, John. Bloody hell, there's an earthquake in your place, and then we, I'd also like to thank John, because I wouldn't have had this chance to get on here if it wasn't for John. Thanks, John. And you'll see us next week with Deborah Hatswell. The week after we got with Shannon, I believe, and then the week after that, would that be all right with Dave again? Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be great, because I've always found that we'll now have got plenty of time to get a lot more questions in and that type of thing. So, anything more to add, Dave, John? No, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and thank you to all the viewers, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon. Well, it's very much appreciated you taking the time to come on, and I feel quite honoured that you've come on, because quite honestly, we got the creme de la creme. We got the best there. We got, as I said, you can get your Amirs and all that, you can shove them down there. But Dave, he's cracked it. He's got it. He excellent. And can't thank you enough, Dave. Thank you very much, mate. Thanks, John, for getting Dave on. That's okay. I've made a huge contribution to tonight, I realise, but there you go, you can't win them all. I wouldn't have been here if you were here, mate. So it's all your contribution. That's brilliant. And it'd be great if Dave did some survival courses and things like that. And I think he did, didn't he? And sort of, it's really. That's nice. What Cat's put here. Dave is the man. That's very kind, isn't it? We've got Louis Wilcox, got all the thumbs up there. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much for joining us.
Join us same place. Hang on, I've gone off. Where am I? Am I still here?
Switch the lights out. All right.
Oh, that's it. Same place, same time.
Same channel.
Next week, live at 8 o'clock. And also we might do one on the naughty channel. Who knows? We might do some naughty stuff. Whoa! The stuff that would send klaxon horns going at YouTube Central. Ah! So anyway, and remember, whatever happens, have a laugh. And good night,
everyone.
Good night.